hell's that for a barbecue?
Look what my mom got. You gonna eat that thing? That's brain food, Kevin.
What's the classic alcohol beverage with burgers and dogs?
I don't eat meat, you guys.
Cheddar, Gruyere. Get away from my burger, man. You guys want whale?
No,
Why are you putting that there?
Chef class.
Where's the cheese?
Look at that. It's burning.
Oh, man, that Pile it on. Give me more. Hey, are those free-range burgers?
Who cares? Have a Zima.
Don't let that touch my burger, man.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dr. Nick, and this is the 90s Guys Show. Now, if you've been on Google, Yahoo, whatever, you know about the recent development of possibly bringing back Zima. Now, for those who may remember Zima, it was a clear malt beverage. It was actually discontinued in 2008. It debuted in 1993 as a clear malt beverage. It was supposed to be an alternative to regular beer. Now, I was only about 8 years old when this stuff came out, so obviously I didn't drink it when it first came out. But I drank it probably, I don't know, a year or so after I turned 21. It wasn't the worst stuff. It had like a interesting fruity taste. I mean, it wasn't bad. It had an interesting bottle. It was called a fluted glass bottle. It set itself away from other different kinds of bottles and stuff. And the advertising campaign during the 90s when this came out, it was something different. And Zima is actually the Russian word for winter. So it was supposed to emphasize refreshing, cooling, quench your thirst type of thing. The amount of advertising that they actually spent was $38 million worth of advertising. They also had the very first website for a food product. That's pretty impressive. Like I said, it ceased production in 2008. It actually had 4.7 to 5.4% of alcohol. By today's standards, you basically refer to it as like a cooler, like a wine cooler, or Bacardi, something like that. Very high alcohol content, but it wasn't like a beer. I mean, it had different flavors. It was a malted beverage, which we have malted beverages now, but back then it was something completely different. In 95, they tried out Zima Gold, which actually ended up being a complete failure in sales. It was supposed to have the taste of bourbon, because ultimately Zima ended up being marketed mostly towards women. And unfortunately, due to that, it was referred to as a girly man drink, a joke that was ongoing on the David Letterman show for many years. He basically said the only people that drank Zima were like kooky politicians, in his words, Santa Claus. I mean, it was really ridiculous. It basically said that you weren't a real man if you drank Zima. You were a girly man. February of 2017, which is this month, they actually possibly may be bringing it back. The word is that it's actually already been sent to the distribution centers and possibly could be released shortly. In the mid-2000s, they actually added some more flavors: citrus, tangerine, pineapple, and lemon lime. Now, like I said, I never got to drink this, but it was part of the clear craze of the 90s. You had Clear Tab, Crystal Pepsi. The advertising, if you've actually seen the advertisements, which there's one at the beginning, and there's one right here.
So she stared deep into my eyes and said, "Hi."
Nice hat.
Nice arm, I replied suavely, just to break the ice.
What are you drinking?
Zima.
Zima. What is that? Beer?
No, it's not like beer, you see? No suds.
Wine cooler?
No. Leave for yourself.
Thou.
Disarming taste.
Yet somewhat
Sophisticated. She smiled subtly at me and said, "Say, what's your sign?"
Stop.
the advertisements were kind of interesting. I wouldn't really call it hipster advertisements, but like there were always advertisements of like people cooking out on like a rooftop. A guy at a bar comes in there and he sees a woman across the bar and he orders a Zima and he drinks it and he quenches his thirst. He actually gets stuck to the pole in the bar and the woman comes over and talks to him. There's one where a guy's sitting in a chair, very hot outside during the summer. He drinks a Zima. He quenches his thirst. He's no longer hot. Basically, they were trying to say that if you drink a Zima, you would no longer be thirsty. It would quench your thirst. It would cool you down. Hence, Zima, Russian word for winter. But it's interesting to see that another thing from the 90s is coming back. We've had Ecto Cooler, Crystal Pepsi. Trying to think, there was a couple other things that I don't remember exactly. There was something else. Oh, possibly Dunkaroos, which was the cookie snack with like the icing in it. But it's interesting to see that so many of these things have made a comeback. Now, will this be targeted mostly towards the nostalgia factor of the Generation Xers that were during that time? Or will it be marketed towards the older millenniums like myself? I wouldn't really call myself a millennium though. I was born in '85 and I lived through the '90s. But I don't know. I wouldn't call myself a millennium, due to even though they say that if you're born between like '85 and '95, or I don't know, it's the exact specification. I always thought it was if you were born any time after the year 2000. That was my estimation. But I consider myself to be a 90s kid because I lived through the entire 90s. But anyways, thank you for watching. I hope this was informational, kind of a cool thing. Let you guys know in the 90s, 80s vintage community about what's going on with this. So, like this video, hit the subscribe button down below, and I'll see y'all later.